So let's just talk about password hashing in Express. So whenever we store user login credential in a database, we cannot just store it directly in a plain text like the username and the password. So this can be a major security flaw. So if the database compromised, then the user's credential will be visible by the hacker. So we never should save the username and password in a text format. Rather, we should just hash the password to make it more secure. So hashing is the process of transforming the plain text password into a fixed size string of character. It is used to secure the stored password in a database. So even though whenever the database compromised, still the actual password will never be exposed. And this will further enhance the security. To hash the password, we can use Bcrypt. So Bcrypt is commonly used to hash passwords during the registration, and also we can verify the password during the login. So to use the Bcrypt, first of all we're gonna install that. So npm install Bcrypt. So we're done with the installation. Let's just import that. So const Bcrypt require Bcrypt. So here, because we are not using any physical database, so here we're just gonna use the user object to store all of our users' credential, like their username and the password. And also we're gonna set the saltRounds and make it 10. So the saltRounds are basically refers to the number of times the hashing algorithm will process the data. So this will determine the computational cost of hashing a password. So higher the number, the more time and processing power it takes to generate the hash, and it will be more resistant to any brute force attack. And also if we increase that number, that means it will take longer time to verify the password. So we have to maintain a balance between them. So typically we should use the number between 10 and 12. So let's now define some routes. So first of all, define the route for register. So app.post register, and here we're gonna have the callback method request response. So here we're gonna make this asynchronous. So first of all, we're gonna get the username and password from the request.body. And now to get the hashed password, so we're gonna use the asynchronous bcrypt.hash. We have to pass the password that we got from the body, and then as a second parameter we're gonna pass the saltRounds that we have defined here. So let's now store that hashed password in the user's object. So user's username, and here we're gonna store the object with the password, and the password will contain the hashed password. So normally we should save this in a real database, but here we're just using one local memory. Then we're just gonna send the response user register successful. So here we're just keeping everything simple and mainly focused on hashing the password. And let's now define the login route. So app.post login. So here also we're gonna get the username and the password from the request body. So once we have got the username and the password, now we have to check if the username and the password are valid or not. So we're gonna get the user. So we're gonna look in the user's object and check if the username exists or not. So if the user does not exist, then we're gonna just return, and we're gonna send the response user not found. Otherwise, if the user exists, then we're gonna match the password. So const match, use the bcrypt.compare method. So the compare method will compare two passwords. So here we're gonna compare this password that we have got from the body with the password from the user's object. So user.password. So if they match, then we're gonna send the response login successful. Else we're gonna send the response invalid password. So here we have defined two routes, one to register the user. So we are getting the username and password from the request body, and we are hashing the password and then storing it in the user's object locally. And here we have the login route, and here we're just basically getting the username and password from the request body, and we are comparing the password with the stored hashed password. So if they match, then we're saying login successful, otherwise we're saying invalid password. And because we're working with JSON from the request body, so we're gonna use the middleware. So app.use express.json. So our server is running. So let's now open the Thunder client, and from here we're gonna create one new post request. So select post from the drop down, and here we're gonna go to localhost 3000/register. So first of all we're gonna register the user, and we're gonna pass the credential in the request body. So here we're gonna pass the JSON with the username. So the username going to be Sam, and we have to pass the password, and the password will be a string. So we're gonna pass 123 and click on send. So you can see we're getting the response, user registered successful. So our user credentials are successfully stored locally in the user's object. Now we're gonna go to the login route to check if the login is working properly or not. So let's just pass the same username and password and click on send. So you can see we're getting login successful. So that means our password and the stored hashed password are matched. So that's why we're getting login successful. But if we send some other password and click on send, so now we're getting invalid password. That means the hashed password and the password that we sent does not match. So that's why we're getting invalid password. So this is the way we can use Bcrypt to hash the password, and we can securely store the password in the database. So hope you understand the concept. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.